Hey happy people! Today I'm going to share with you 6 of my favorite fall DIYs that I still have and they're holding up strong. So for this first project I used 4 of these Dollar Tree canvas signs and I stripped off all the canvas and removed the hanger. I used some jumbo popsicle sticks, cut them down to size, and glued them to the inside of the 4 frames. I cut down some more jumbo sticks and hot glued them to the base. I measured down a Dollar Tree plunger handle and cut it down to size. I then used my favorite tool to drill a hole in the center of the handle and 4 wooden rulers. As always, I will have a list of all the supplies and how to get them in the description box below. I attached the rulers to the box with a combination of wood glue and hot glue, and then I attached the rulers to the handle with a screw. Now that I'm more comfortable using chalk paint, I think I'd actually skip this step, but I painted the rulers with a coat of black paint because I thought the numbers would show through the chalk paint when I painted it. I don't think that would actually happen though. I don't know, what do you think? I painted the entire piece with moss colored chalk paint and then I added a decal that I made on my Cricut. This is for sale in my Etsy shop if you want to check that out. The link is in the description box below. I originally went over the stencil with a gray paint, but then I decided it was too light, so I went over it with black paint. After that was dry, I added some jute string to the handle and hot glued the ends in place. Next, I added some floral foam and an arrangement of Dollar Tree florals. This is one of my favorite DIYs and it has become part of my everyday decor. I just love it. This project started with 3 pumpkin signs from Dollar Tree. I removed the embellishments and glitter, painted them with white chalk paint, and filled in the holes with Dollar Tree spackle. I used mineral chalk paint by Waverly to outline and paint the ribs of the pumpkin. And I used moss colored chalk paint by Waverly to paint the stem. I made and printed out these sign images for each of the 3 pumpkins. I also have these listed in my Etsy shop for purchase as a digital file or physical decal. If you're interested, the link is in the description box below. Here I am showing you how to make this without the use of a Cricut, or you can use carbon paper like I showed you in this video that I'm tagging above. That might actually be less time consuming, just FYI. Here I traced the backside of the printed images with a pencil, taped the image to the pumpkin, and used a pencil again to scribble over the image to transfer the markings onto the pumpkin. I then traced over the markings with a fine-tipped Sharpie and filled it in with a black paint marker. I lined the 3 pumpkins up, made a few markings to know where to place them, and then glued them in place with E6000 and hot glue. To add a little stability, I took some giant popsicle sticks and adhered them to the back of the sign. I used 2 of these super cute little signs that they have at Dollar Tree and I turned them into the base. They do have another version of these at Dollar Tree right now, by the way, and I think they just have a different design on the side, but they still have them. After that, I glued the metal leaves back into place and made some cute jute string bows, and it was ready to go. I have used this for the past 2 years now. It is still going strong, and I get so many compliments. People just can't believe that I made it. And I think that's pretty cool. So this was actually one of the very first DIYs I did on this channel. I took 3 of these pumpkin signs and stripped them of their decoration. I then smoothed them down with sandpaper. Next, I painted all 3 with white chalk paint. I then dry brushed the edges and the ribs with mineral colored chalk paint by Waverly. I painted the stem with moss colored chalk paint by Waverly. I painted the bases with a mixture of gray and brown paint. I used one of these Dollar Tree wall decals, and the cool thing about using these decals is that they're repositionable. So once they're set to your liking, you can cover them with a coat of Mod Podge and they're good to go. So I still wanted to use the embellishments that were already on the pumpkins, but I wanted them to be more muted toned, so I painted over them with white chalk paint, and I used a pencil and paint to trace the original design. I glued them back, but this time to one single pumpkin, and placed jute string bows on the other 2, and here they were. I look forward to putting these out each year. I just love them. So this was a super easy project. It's another mini wreath that I made for this DIY shedder that I have on display. If you haven't already seen that one, check out that video after this one. I will link it above. I took some Dollar Tree raffia and weaved it over and then under the 3 wires, hot gluing the ends to the back. I then did the same pattern with this amazingly cute farmhouse ribbon from Dollar Tree. I think I used about 2.5 spools of ribbon. I think I also used about 2 packages of the raffia from Dollar Tree. I added some lamb's ear from Walmart and a couple of Dollar Tree foxtail and fall flower pieces, and that was it for this one. So I wanted a fall sign for my living room, so I picked up 6 square signs from Dollar Tree and used a butter knife to score lines to create faux wood planks. I lined them all up and filled in the holes and all the vertical lines with Dollar Tree spackle. I flipped the boards over and hot glued along the lines where the boards met. To add more stability, I glued giant popsicle sticks around the midline and 2 basswood planks to the top and bottom with E6000 and hot glue. I painted 2 coats of white chalk paint and let it dry. Using a butter knife, I drew horizontal lines parallel to the midline. I wrote up a cute saying on my Cricut and cut it into some stencil vinyl. I have tried to add this to my Etsy shop, by the way, as a digital file, but I'm still learning how to do this. This was a little bit complicated, so we'll see if I can get it out. We'll see if I can get it up on my Etsy shop for purchase. Feel free to check it out. The link is in the description box below, but it just might not be there. And I painted over the stencil and around the edges with mineral chalk paint by Waverly. I needed some accent pieces, so I took 2 of these little box signs from Dollar Tree and painted the inside white and stenciled on some cute sayings. And these are gonna go up every year until I decide that I'm tired of it, which I really don't see that happening anytime soon. Now, this adorable DIY turned out so cute. I took this truck yard sign from Dollar Tree and detached it from a stick. As you can see, it wasn't very difficult to do. I used an X-Acto knife to cut off some of the pieces that kind of hung over the edge and didn't really match what I was going for. I started to paint a coat of this skyline blue color by Folk Art, but it was too transparent, so I did a base coat of white chalk paint first, and then I painted the wheels black, and then I'll go back over it with the blue paint. I used my X-Acto knife to score around where the back window would be, and then I painted the car with that blue paint. Once that was dry, I realized I went a little blue crazy, so I had to go back over the bumper with white chalk paint. I used a white paint marker and a Dollar Tree chalk pen to draw in the details of the truck. Just a tip if you struggle with remembering how the style of an image went, like I did with the details of this truck, just take a photo of the original before you paint it, and then you have something to reference back to. I used a Dollar Tree stencil to write "Welcome" on the truck, and now I'm going to show you how you can fix it when you mess it all up. I found some of these really cute wooden pumpkin stickers from Dollar Tree. I just trimmed off the bottoms and then I glued them onto the truck. I took another one of those really cute wooden signs with the buffalo check trim. I just painted the top of the sign white and then I turned that into the base. I added 2 Jenga pieces to the back of the tires on the truck and then I glued the Jenga pieces to the base. And now it stands. I hope you got a ton of awesome inspiration for some fall DIYs. If you made it all the way to the end, you are awesome! Make sure you are subscribed to my channel so that you don't miss out on any of the fun. I am about to unleash some, in my opinion, awesome fall DIYs, and I'm really excited about that. So make sure you're subscribed. I will link the last video for you here. If you missed it, you can check it out. And thank you so much for giving me a moment of your day. You are amazing. Bye.